everybody, JC here from Toy News International. And for today's video, I wanted to give you my top 5 best Marvel Legend figures of 2018. So the new year is kicked off, and I think it's safe to say that 2018 was a very good year for Marvel overall. They basically ruled at the box office, having 3 of the top 5 grossing movies of 2018, I think it was, with Avengers Infinity War, Black Panther, which came in at number 1, and even Deadpool 2 was a strong contender this year for a box office take, I think coming in at number 5. So, you know, definitely was a strong year at the box office for Marvel. A good year for video games with the PS4 Spider-Man game, and then, of course, action figures. I think, in my personal opinion, Marvel Legends and Hasbro ruled in action figures for 2018. Every year it seems like Hasbro gets better with their Marvel Legends, and this was probably one of the best years that they had for their action figure line. Now, for today, I have tried to narrow it down to my top 5 favorite figures, Marvel Legend figures for 2018. Now, this will be a combination of both movie and comic book based figures. So this is overall just my top personal 5 favorite figures that were released this year. And it was definitely kind of hard to narrow it down. There were some strong contenders for the top 5, but I'm going to today give you what I personally feel are the best 5 figures that Hasbro put out in 2018. Okay, so starting off, we're going to go from 5 to 1 being the best, and I do want to note that my cutoff for 2018 figures is going to be the second wave of Black Panther movie figures. Anything beyond that, which includes the new Spider-Man Kingpin wave or the Captain Marvel wave, which are starting to hit shelves now. I'm going to be reviewing those figures starting this week, but again, for my favorite figures of 2018, the cutoff is going to be the Black Panther second wave of movie figures. And so coming in, starting at number 5, is going to be the new Killmonger figure in the fatigues. I think this is a fantastic looking figure. I love the sculpting detail with the armor, chest plate, and the head sculpt, even though technically this head sculpt first came with the Killmonger that was in the Target 2-pack. I think it works much better with this figure, and it's dead on to the actor. You got some pretty decent accessories, and so that's why this figure comes in at number 5. Okay, now here's a close contender for my top 5 list. It didn't actually make the cut, but was very close, and that's the new Avengers Iron Man figure that was part of Hasbro's Marvel MCU anniversary line this year. And this is one of the best Iron Man figures I think Hasbro has done. A much improved version over the previous version of this figure that they did. And, you know, again, was very close to making the top 5 list. I just think maybe just because it's based on an older armor is why maybe I couldn't put it on the top 5. But definitely this was a very solid figure, and if you haven't already, is one worth checking out. Okay, coming in at number 4 was the new X-Men Classic Cable figure that Hasbro did this year. Now, Hasbro did a Cable figure not too long ago, which wasn't a bad figure, but I think this one is a lot better than that previous one. You got a good array of weapons that look very much like Cable. You've got the big giant Rob Liefeld like shoulder pads. I love the head sculpt with this one. That's what really puts this figure over the top, is the head sculpt. You even have the little telekinesis effect that you can put in the eye. So definitely this is one of the better X-Men figures that we got this year, and why it makes number 4 on my list. The new MCU Ronin figure, while again not one that made the actual top 5, was a contender. I really like the detailing with this figure. I think they captured the likeness of the character. You know, it's about time that we got the bad guy from the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Again, this figure was part of Hasbro's MCU anniversary line. I think the reason why it didn't make the cut is the articulation is a little bit limited with the shoulder pads and everything, but still a great looking figure. And if you're a fan of the Ronin character, I think this is one that you would want to check out. Coming in at number 3 this year is the updated Tiger Stripe Wolverine, and it seems like every year Hasbro puts out a very solid looking Wolverine figure. We had the brown costume Wolverine, the Old Man Logan, all of those were great figures, but this was always my favorite costume for Wolverine, the Tiger Stripe, and this is a much improved, updated version over the previous Tiger Stripe that they did. Probably the best Tiger Stripe Wolverine that we've ever gotten. My only downside with this one is the shoulder pads. When again, you know, they kind of fall down sometimes. Does look a little silly. That's probably why it only comes in at number 3. But again, easily this could make the number 2 or even maybe the number 1 spot. I love the head sculpt, obviously with the claws and everything. You know, this is just a great Wolverine figure and probably my favorite one that they've done to this point. So that's why it comes in at number 3. Well, I think it's hard to argue that this wasn't the year for Hasbro and Marvel Legends. They definitely stuck a few duds in the line this year, and just these 3 are 3 that just kind of stuck out to me. The Iron Spider figure from Avengers Infinity War, very disappointing that we didn't get the mechanical arms. You know, you could probably put the Iron Man, the Infinity War Iron Man figure in this lineup as well with the lack of accessories. And then these other 2 are just, to me, kind of lazy repaints. The Miles Morales Spider-Man from Into the Spider-Verse, you know, they just repainted the previous one that they did, and they didn't even give us like an unmasked or movie accurate head sculpt, which was very disappointing. And then same with this Iron Man figure that was part of the MCU, the Toys R Us 3-pack with the Trevor figure. You know, again, this was just kind of a lazy repaint to me. So these, you know, aren't the only duds in the line this year, but these 3 definitely stuck out in my mind. So amazingly enough, another figure from that second wave of Black Panther movie figures makes my top 5 list. This one actually, if you were just going by the figure itself, could easily be number 1. This figure, the likeness is incredible. It's dead on to how he appears in the movie. It's a good size. You know, the sculpting detail and everything with this figure is very nice. The paint applications are solid. The only reason why I don't put this at number 1 is just because of the character itself is not super exciting to me, but the figure, you know, there's really very little fault with this figure, and one of the best figures I think Hasbro did this year. So like I said, this one could easily make number 1, but for me, I'm putting it at number 2 this year. Another figure you could stick on the dud list is the Infinity War Thanos Build-A-Figure that they did this year. Well, not a horrible figure, not the worst figure that they did this year, being that Thanos was such an important character for the movies, and it's one that fans have been waiting for a very long time. I think Hasbro could have done a much better job with this one. Now, they released a modified version in the MCU 3-pack, but honestly, I still think that figure is a little bit lackluster, probably a little better than this one, but you know, this one's got the smiley face, which looks kind of funny, and just has the closed fist. So again, while not a horrible, not the worst figure, I think this, because he's such an important character and everything, Hasbro could have done a better job with this one. Okay, and finally, the number 1 figure for 2018, which I think is probably making a lot of the top lists this year, is the Marvel Legends Fantastic Four Thing figure that was released as a Walgreens exclusive. This figure was well made. It's got a good weight to it. The sculpting detail with the rock on the skin is incredible. The paint applications are very solid. You got alternate head sculpts, and was just a great way to round out your Fantastic Four team. So this figure to me is definitely the best figure that they did. Again, this was sold as a Walgreens exclusive. The only downside is, at least so far, we've yet to get an updated Doctor Doom figure, which hopefully Hasbro will do in the near future. But like I said, this was probably, you know, really no fault with this figure at all, and it's why it makes my number 1 figure for 2018 for Hasbro's Marvel Legend line. So that's it. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? What made your top 5 list? Let me know in the comments section. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the bell notification so you're alerted every time I upload a new video. You can also follow me on my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts. I have links to all those in the video description as well. Be sure to check back soon for my reviews of the new Spider-Man Kingpin wave, as well as the Captain Marvel movie wave. Those will be coming very soon. And until next time, guys, I'll catch you later.